Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good. How you
Pretty
doing,
good.
Andy? The Bohemian
Good,
Celts.
good.
How you doing? You're a filmmaker, a film reviewer, and voiceover actress, correct?
Yes, I am.
Nice, nice. And are you retired from writing books?
Oh, yeah, I retired in 2010. My books are still out on the market. I just don't ever plan to write anymore.
Why did you retire?
Unfortunately, I was always a big proponent of indie and self-publishing. Back when you were just utter trailer trash scum, no one wanted anything to do with you. You were automatically blacklisted if you were pro-indie publishing. And I happened to make it pretty big when I was doing it, and so I was always a fan of it, and I encouraged everyone to do it. Well, then Kindle came along and opened up a whole new realm of independent publishing, and now everyone and their brother who has a nightmare can write a story about it and put it on Kindle and say, hey, I'm an author.
Yes,
And it just got to where the competition was just too much. I had to work too hard. The market was so oversaturated. It was ridiculous. And I thought, fuck this. I am too old. I'm going to bow out.
Yeah.
While I'm still partially on top.
Wow. I used to work in printing, and once, like you said, the Kindles dropped when they got big. I remember our hours got cut. Like the book orders really went down when they came out and they hit the market.
Oh, yeah. The Walden Books, which was a subsidiary of Borders, which was where I had been a bestseller, a #1 New York Times bestseller, a Borders bestseller.
Yeah.
They even closed. I mean, when Kindle came out, it was like Prince dead.
Yes. Every bookstore closed. Everything. It was sad. It was really sad.
Yeah.
Are there any even bookstores open anymore? Like, Borders is gone,
Borders
right?
is gone. What was
Yeah,
the other one?
Barnes and Noble?
Barnes and Nobles is
There's
still
a
there,
few
I think.
Barnes and Nobles around, and there's Books A Million.
They're still around because that's the one around here that closed. I loved Books A Million.
Yeah.
And that one closed. That was like I said, it was like the next town over.
It's a shame because they were equivalent to like going to like the video store once a week. Like you go to a bookstore, sit down, have coffee,
They
look
were
at a
still
whole
the
bunch of
scumbags
books.
though that put the mom and pops out of business. It was kind of like the Blockbuster of bookstores. Like,
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, it was. My brother-in-law wanted to go walk around our Books A Million, and I'd forgotten how fun bookstores were.
they were.
And that's all we have in this area is Books A Million. If you want Barnes and Noble, you got to go to Tampa.
Oh yeah. I don't. I think about 40 minutes away. There's one of them. I think Barnes and Noble. If you go to like the one mall,
Probably in the Hamilton Mall. Right?
Yeah,
Shore
yeah.
Mall, one of those.
Yeah. What So what are your books? Was your most your bestseller?
My bestseller was my first book. It was called The Two, and it was a suspense thriller, psychotic supernatural, and that book came out in April 2005, and by June it was on #1 on the Borders bestsellers. Was my first book signing.
And you did that
So
all.
I was
all
really
on your
fortunate
own.
with that.
You did that all independently.
Yeah, I did it through Lulu.com back in the olden days before they did everything for you. I had to get it listed on Amazon myself. I had to get it picked up by the bookstores myself. Yeah, I had to do everything myself.
Wow.
And so that was quite a feat because it was funny. The girl that ran the local Walden book, she was not a supporter of independent publishing, but she wanted to support the community. So I went in there and asked her if she'd let me have a book signing, and she's like, yeah. So she ordered my books in. And my very first day there, I mean, books were flying off the shelf. I couldn't believe it. And she walks up to me at the end of the book signing and looks at me and says, I don't know how you managed to do this, but you just hit #1 on the Borders bestsellers list.
Wow.
That must have felt amazing.
That is
That's
amazing.
awesome.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it was like it tore her heart out. She had to vomit out every word.
Why did people hate so
Well,
much
yeah,
on
why is
independent publishing?
Why is that so despised? Because I do remember it like not as much as you do, of course, but I remember with movies like it was kind of the same thing. I thought when they first started making that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's the rule of thumb for what I call the country club, the people that always hated me and I always hated them, that I was constantly butting heads with, if you're not a New York Times bestseller, then you're worthless.
Yeah.
That any other bestseller status doesn't count, and you're just a wannabe. I actually had a pretty famous author tell me one time on a message board that just because I had hit Border's #1 bestsellers list, that was like going to a lake and fishing, and because you caught one fish that day, you could tell everybody you caught the biggest fish in the lake.
Yeah, well, fuck Stephen King.
No, it wasn't Stephen King. If Stephen King had said that, I'd been like, okay, whatever. But this other person that said it, yeah, that's how it was. I was like, fuck you. Could you be any more jealous?
I would have framed that if Stephen King said that. I would have framed that and put it on my wall.
Oh yeah. oh yeah. Oh yeah. If Stephen King had said that, I'd have been like, look what I got from Stephen King. You don't wish he paid this kind of attention to you.
Yes.
This is just some like airport, like, what do they call those? Like the Grissom books, where they're just like popular at like airports.
Airport. Fucking
book offer.
Yeah. Convenience.
Oh
stores.
yeah. Oh yeah. My books are sick and twisted and depraved, and it's like if you go on my Amazon page, you'll see people either love my books or they hate them and they hate me.
I saw you on your Twitter. You say you got a lot of hate, and I was wondering too in your movie reviews. Yeah. I saw in your movie reviews you said you're only doing ones that you don't hate anymore. Like I was wondering if you got
because I'm trying to be a gentler me, and it's just for my own well-being. I'm trying to be a little bit gentler this year. But yeah, people, when I was writing, I got everything short of death threats. A friend of mine used to get death threats. I never got one of those.
Yeah,
we've got
people telling me I was.
We've gotten a few death threats.
People telling me I was vile, I was gonna burn in hell, I was sick, I was twisted. I was FBI profiled a couple of times.
Wow.
I've heard that from other authors.
Huh?
I've heard other authors say that too, for like stuff they've Googled and like researched for their books and stuff, that they've been FBI profiled.
Oh yeah, I was FBI profiled twice. One by someone pretty high up in the FBI, and the FBI, they profiled me, and they were like, yeah. And I had another one that was a local policeman, and he came and he bought one of my books, and he's like, I'm going to read this. And he said, and then I'm going to let my superiors know, if I think they need to, that you're walking the streets unchaperoned.
Did he like the book in the end?
Did he get us? Did
do you
sign
understand it's a book? I mean, really, I was like, okay, you understand this is a book,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
This is fiction, as in completely made up, as in not based on real events, right?
Wow. Oh my God.
I spent more time telling people that, because when my book Playing Devil's Advocate came out, that was the one that got me the most hate and was the most controversial. Michael was the one that had me FBI profiled so many times. But Playing Devil's Advocate, when that came out, I had to constantly, I was getting hate mail all the time, and I'm like, okay, you do understand. Did you read the book? If you read the book, you gotta know that shit like this doesn't happen in real life, okay?
So you were getting hate from people that just read like the description of the book?
That's what I was wondering.
Oh yeah, I was getting hate mail before Playing Devil's Advocate was even released. I got some email from some evangelical telling me how I was going to burn in hell and my soul was rotted, and of course I plastered that all over the internet, and I'm like, ha, eat my dust, bitches, ain't none of the rest of y'all got this.
That's
so like why?
That's
like
your show. That's like the publicist like puts out that page.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but then why? Like just because you had the word devil in it, or like what was this book about that offended these people so much?
My reputation preceded me, and at the time I was pretty underground famous. So if at the time, if you Googled me, all kinds of freaky shit would come up. And I did a lot of conventions, so there was a lot of pictures of me at conventions, and I was always in black, and I was always hanging out with the weird people at the conventions, people that everyone else thought was weird. And so it was just like people thought I was like the Antichrist or something walking around.
Oh, wow. So it was just like, we got to stop the Antichrist from releasing a book. That's it. Doesn't matter what it's about.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I plastered that letter. I like copied it and put it into a Word document, and I plastered it everywhere. And a friend of mine was laughing about it at the time. This is quite a number of years ago. She's like, "Oh my God, I have never in my life seen anyone take such negative publicity and turn it around and use it to their advantage." I'm like, yeah, you can't buy publicity like this. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
I couldn't pay a publicist to do this.
Yes. We've had it too with a few guests we've had that we've gotten mad over the years. They wrote the one guy wrote like a 3-page blog pretty much about us. And I have all screenshots of it. I love it. What's the one comment that I loved? Is something like, "You clowns have no..." What was he? No bounds. You
clowns have no bounds. I was like, that's great. That's how we're going to advertise ourselves.
We got told,
that's
Andy.
Awesome. Yeah, you'd have to pay somebody for a tagline like that. That's awesome.
We had somebody comment once that we should be dragged through the streets and set on fire as an April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm jealous. Nobody ever said that about me.
We were told that we were worse than a woman who burned her baby in the middle of a street. Like, we were worse than that woman.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hate y'all. I never got anything like that.
That's why, like, me and Rob were cracking up before the show because I was on your Twitter and I saw that you had tweeted that, like, "Oh, I'm on the Rob and Slim show and they're probably never going to invite me back." I'm like, did she listen to our show at all?
Hey, I'm a little much for a lot of people. I got asked to do conventions and then got told I had been replaced because I guess there was so much controversy surrounding me. I'm a little much for most people.
Andy, we have a skit we do. It's an ongoing series.
It's a serial drama.
It's a serial drama called Too Many Rapes.
It's about prison.
I have a lot of that in my books too. That's probably why a lot of people hated me. And I also wrote a lot of erotica, and I used to get hate mail about that.
I saw that you were very hated for your erotica. I was going to ask why.
Oh yeah. Well, it's because a lot of it was gay erotica, because that's my thing. Hot men fucking each other. That's my thing. And I used to get hate letters from the gay community all the time.
Wow.
Telling me that I shouldn't be ashamed to be gay. I need to come out of the closet and stop writing under a woman's name. And I actually had to send pictures of myself to these people and say, okay, this is me right here.
Yeah.
I am a woman. I am not a man. I am married. I have kids. I am not a man. And the letters stopped, but it was like I got a couple of those, and of course I plastered those all over the internet too. I'm like, damn, I'm getting hate from people.
Why would they say that though? They didn't like the way you were portraying gay people, and they just thought that you were like insulting them. Like, I don't understand.
They thought that I was ashamed. They thought that I was a man ashamed to write under my own name.
Oh, okay.
They thought I was trying to hide.
So they really liked it then.
That's it. They were jealous. They couldn't write anything back good.
They wanted to fuck the man behind. They wanted to fuck the man behind that.
Yeah, and like I said, that went all over the internet too. I mean, I plastered that everywhere on my website.
Yes.
I'm like, another one.
It's always been, even for us, and it's always been a great feeling. We're like, at first, like the first couple of ones, we were a little nervous, but later on, it was like we're doing something right.
That's
we're getting death threats.
I've had so many people tell me, like, yeah, you're doing it right if that's happening.
Oh yeah. I had looking at some of the reviews of my books on Amazon. I mean, one person said about, I think it was Michael, that she wanted to like the book, but she couldn't because it was too weird. And another one said something like, I can't stand bullying, and the heroes are no better than the bad guys. And I'm like, oh my God, why did you even buy my books? You pussies are obviously not prepared to read my shit.
Yeah.
Professional artist, and then one by an up-and-coming artist.
Wow.
And at one time, I had a couple of films use interior shots of my living room as interior shots for their movies.
Oh, So cool. And then I think Slim said the gargoyle he really enjoyed too. Is there?
Oh yeah. I've got one beside me, one over my head, and then there's a dragon's head that never makes it into the film over in the corner.
I thought there was one over your head. That's the one I saw. Slim saw the one. The one gargoyle.
Yeah, that's the gargoyle. Yep, holding the light.
Yes. I love it. I love the whole room. It's very, very cool. Is that something you put together over time, or did you do it all at once?
I did it all at once. I did it when I was writing, because I used to have a lot of parties here at my house. I would throw parties for my fans and my friends, and if I released a new book, I'd have a release party. So I decorated my house accordingly due to my morbid taste, and I still have it decorated really creepy. I've had people walk in here, and I have a baby's casket in one corner.
Holy
and
shit.
People see it and the two little sickles that I have there beside it, and they're like, I can't come in this house. I'm like, okay, see ya.
Oh, wow, that is a little heavy. That's a rough one. Oh.
Yeah, the baby's coffin was an anniversary gift one year from my husband.
Wow. Yeah.
We bought it from a reputable antique dealer.
Yeah.
It was in one of those antique malls, and he was a reputable dealer. But when we got it home, my husband's looking at it, and he said, "There's been a body in this coffin." And I'm like, "Oh, hell no." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Look at this." He said, "Look at the hinges." He said, "This is what body fluid does to hinges." And he's like, "And look at the outside of it. The handles have been removed, and the nameplate's been removed and sanded." And I'm like, "Oh, shit." So he redid the inside of it for me, and we set it in a corner. I did an interview one time. It's so funny. The woman that was trashing me didn't know that I was in the chat room at the same time, which I don't normally do, but I just happened to go in there. And she made a really nasty comment about the baby's coffin. And I said, look, we didn't dig the baby's coffin up.
Yeah.
We bought it from a reputable antique dealer. Where he got it from, we didn't ask. Yeah. And my husband completely redid the inside of the coffin in beautiful green velvet, and the casket has a place of honor in our home.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh. I thought, yeah, fuck you, bitch. You didn't know I was in here looking at you trashing at me, so go fuck yourself.
Nice. Do you have a film, Andy?
Do I have a what?
Do you have a film? Because that's one thing I couldn't find when I was doing prep for your interview.
Oh, yeah, I have three, actually.
Okay.
I have The Journey, which is like an avant-garde film. I have Morning Star, which is also an avant-garde film. And then I have what I consider the jewel in my crown, my film 72 Hours. That one's about the zombie apocalypse hitting.
Cool. Where are they available?
Yeah, that's the one that I'm most... they're on YouTube. You can watch them anytime on YouTube. Awesome. They're under, all three of The Journey and Morning Star are under Cafe Noir Production Studio, because that's where I try to keep my silent, because the movies I make are silent, avant-garde, black and white.
Oh, wow.
The Journey is in color, and I speak in it. So that is under the little folder of Destination Desolation Productions.
Okay. Cool. And I saw too. I wanted to ask you too. I saw you did voice work on Dead Things. It's a game, and it's also like a series as well. Correct?
Yeah, I was the original Doris. Yeah.
Cool.
I probably heard you then, because we interviewed what's his name? David.
Oh, David? Yeah. David was the one that contacted me and had me do Doris's voice. Yep.
We interviewed
I was the original Doris.
At least a year or two ago about his game. He was a really cool guy.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. I do a lot of voice work now for Mr. Shelton TV Productions, Misty Rose Productions, Esme Shelton. I do a lot of, I write poetry, and I do voice work, and I do introductions and things for those films. So that's a lot of fun. I always enjoy voiceover work.
Yeah.
I was for a while on Scream Radio, but burned out might be a strong word, but after working the rat race that I did for so hard for so many years, I am a little burned out and a little lazy. And the shows on Scream Radio, which I absolutely love, I'm still listed there as a family member. They're 30-minute shows, and I just don't have it in me any longer to do 30 minutes of just me anymore.
I think our buddy Isaac.
I'm lazy.
I think our friend Isaac Thorne is on there.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Yep,
Cool.
Isaac's on there.
He's awesome.
You know Bleeding Critic as well?
Oh, yeah, I know Bleeding Critic. I've talked to Bleeding Critic. He Skyped me one day, and I'm like, oh, well, hello there.
Oh, was he wearing...
And I'm like, oh.
Was he wearing the mask when he Skyped you?
Oh, of course he was.
That's amazing.
Oh, it's a best.
Oh, he's amazing.
He's amazing.
Yeah, we've talked to him 3 times,
it was
I think.
a short conversation because he's like, this mask is getting really hot. And I'm like, I'm sure it is. Gotta admire the courage of your convictions, dude, because I'd be like, fuck this mask. This is coming off.
Right? Yeah, we've only done audio with him. I don't think I could look at him with the mask. The mask is...
Even just his audio when he's like, he'll read stories to us and just like bone chilling. It's,
he is. He's the best.
Oh yeah, he's a lot of fun. I've done a couple of things for him to put up on his YouTube channel, some paranormal things.
He's amazing.
That's amazing. What do you mean paranormal? Like you're into the paranormal?
Yeah. I was at one time. I was really, really big into the paranormal. I was doing conventions, and I wrote a couple of books, but I'm not really popular in the paranormal community, because I will call bullshit when I see it. I did a quote-unquote ghost tour around here locally where I live, and I was busting the women's chops all night long because everything they were doing was fake.
That's amazing.
And it was funny. A few weeks later, I happened to be doing a photo shoot out in a cemetery, and my husband was out there. And they come driving up, the ghost people come driving up in their car, and they see him, and he's like, oh, hey, how you doing? And they're like, wait a minute, is your wife out here? And he's like, yeah, she's doing a photo shoot over there. And they got back in their car and left.
So what were they? They were like the over-dramatic ghost hunters, I guess?
Yeah. They were, oh, you can feel the spirits in this. And I'm like, bullshit, there's nothing here. And they're so-called psychics they had.
Oh my God.
If looks could have killed, I would have been dead within like the first 5 minutes, because she never opened her mouth. I walked into one place and I said, there's something here in this corner. And she walks over and she's like, yeah, a lot of people feel things in this corner. I'm like, yeah, because there's something in this corner. I'm like, the rest of this gazebo, there ain't shit here. I'm like, but there's something in this corner. And she wouldn't talk to me for the rest of the night. And I'm like, get your ass away from me.
Andy, we have to wrap this up.
And then we did a ghost tour. Huh?
I'm sorry, we have to wrap this up. I can't believe it's the end already. Oh.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It has been.
It's been fun. If you guys don't blacklist me, you'll have to have me on again.
You're definitely not blacklisted.
Yeah, you're not blacklisted.
You're coming back, Andy. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, because I'm used to being blacklisted.
Yeah,
so are we. Where can everybody find you?
Everybody can find me on Twitter at Andy Van Scoy. I'm really kind of all over the place. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, but I'm most active on Twitter, so just look up Andy Van Scoy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andy.
Yep, just find me on there and follow me at your own risk.
All right, have a good one, Andy.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.